Hi there, I'm still Ken Bush, and this is part 3 of the presentation Composite Wood-Based Decorative Surfaces. We're covering why laminates, the reasons we should be using more laminates in the world, and high-pressure laminate, the granddaddy of the laminate category. This presentation is made possible by Arauco Prism. Prism is a brand of thermally fused laminate. Arauco is a producer of TFL panels as well as raw panels. Nova Solutions, a producer of 3D laminates, as well as other materials for the interior design markets. Wilson Art, a producer of high-pressure laminate, as well as thermally fused laminates. And Olan, a producer of decorative lightweight papers and foils. This presentation was created by Ken Bush of Material Intelligence. You can visit our website at materialintelligence.com, and you can email me Ken, K-E-N-N, at materialintelligence.com. So why do we need decorative laminates? Well, they can be value engineered for specific performance parameters. The design fidelity in most of these materials rivals reality. You can get incredibly realistic textures, unlimited design flexibility. You get consistent design, quality, availability, and price year after year. This is very hard to achieve with natural materials. In the end, the combination of a printed decorative surface and a composite wood core is usually more environmentally responsible than natural materials. The decorative surfaces, the laminates, give you superior hygienic qualities because they're much easier to clean. They can withstand more rigorous cleaning regimens, especially in healthcare and education settings. And of course, these materials are compatible with efficient modern manufacturing techniques. This means that less labor is involved in actually creating the finished interior or interior build-out or piece of furniture. Decorative laminates also give us aesthetics that fit into larger current trends, or we have access to custom proprietary designs through digital printing or silk screening, or colorations of rotogravure printed designs that you cannot get in nature. The consistency of design and color from project to project is very important to interior designers. It's a way to know exactly what you're going to get, and year after year, if you need to replace or update a piece of furniture or a panel in a project, you can be sure that you're going to get an exact match. Consistent costs from project to project. This is especially important if you're building out, say, retail stores over the course of a few years or hotel interiors. Durability appropriate to the application. Again, we can engineer these surfaces for any kind of durability level, and we can get matching designs on different types of surfaces, so you can literally value engineer exactly what you need out of these materials appropriate to every application in a project. Of course, ease of fabrication and installation. These materials, again, back to their durability, are easy to handle on site. That can be a big problem on certain projects, damage during the installation process. They're environmentally responsible. We talked about that, but the composite wood cores and their carbon sink abilities, and the fact that we are printing exotic wood grains rather than harvesting rare trees from old growth forests. That's definitely an environmental plus. And value, which we define as cost plus durability plus design. All of the above, essentially. Nothing can beat the value of a composite wood panel that's been treated with a decorative laminate. So this is actually a hotel in Toronto, an upscale hotel where I was attending a conference. Newly remodeled. I checked in. I was admiring the inlaid veneer armoire, and then I opened it up to start stashing my clothes, and I see that the bottom has also been veneered, and then apparently there was a safe or a mini fridge that they installed or pulled out and did basically irreversible damage to the wood. Now, in a home setting, this could be repaired or treated, but I found in hotels and in commercial spaces, Nobody wants to actually take care of this kind of damage. So it basically devalues the room. Um, so instead of paying $380 a night for a room, you feel like you should be paying $108. So these are some more hotel examples. On the left here is uh, an upscale hotel in Valencia, Spain, with a beautiful wood table and a nice walnut that somebody had taken a fork to. Again, newly remodeled. Everything else in the room is pretty pristine, but the table had already been butchered. The two photos on the right are another nice hotel in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Uh, they had used a beautiful wood on the work desk and with a rolling office chair. You stand up, it spins around, it bangs into the wood, and it damages it again. And nobody's going to take care of that. Nobody's going to try and polish it or fix it or make it look new again. So in these cases, some sort of decorative laminate, a durable laminate, would have been a much better choice. You wouldn't be seeing actually any of that damage. This is a room outside of Venice, Italy, in a Marriott Courtyard, I believe it was. Um, Not a bad room, kind of pretty, but you turn to look at the desk area, and again, the major culprit has to be the rolling office chair, spinning and scraping and basically doing all sorts of nasty things to the fragile veneers. Once again, a more durable laminate would have been a much better choice, especially since this particular wood grain is not real distinctive. It's kind of plain. Easily could have had a better looking surface in a more durable material, and basically made the room last a lot longer without looking so run down. This is another hotel outside of Venice where they have used what I would say is a much more responsible material. This is a high pressure laminate printed with a real strong character wood grain and with a nice texture. They basically used it everywhere. Now on the vertical surfaces, that might have been overkill. High pressure laminate is a very durable material used on cash wraps and kitchen counters and whatnot. On vertical surfaces, you probably don't need that kind of durability, but my guess is it was done for design reasons. The fabricator didn't have access to matching materials in a lighter grade laminate, so in order to keep the design of the room together, he used HPL and everything. Another reason for this might be is that high pressure laminate is very easy to fabricate in the field. So if there is a need for creating, say, the headboard panels in the field, you can literally cut the laminate and lay it up and install it all on site. You don't need a real high-tech plant to put high-pressure laminate on composite wood substrates. So starting into the different categories of laminates, high-pressure laminate is really kind of the granddaddy of the entire laminate category. The picture on the left is actually a shot of the set of the television show Mad Men. It is shows sort of all that mid-century modern grandeur. We don't really know how much of this is laminate and how much of it is veneer, but that is the period in which high-pressure laminate sort of really came into its own, mimicking beautiful wood grains with a fine furniture finish, and also bright and bold colors, abstract designs. The sky was kind of the limit with high-pressure laminate in the 50s and 60s. It was truly a jet age material, something that people were very proud to have in their homes and would brag about it, like a Korean countertop, except for in those days it was usually Formica. So the image on this slide is basically sheets of high-pressure laminate that have been treated with an overlay that has what the manufacturer called inclusions. The top two pieces, the blue and the yellow, have a metal, and the orange piece has organic fibers. And we'll get into how high-pressure laminate is constructed, but what you're looking at is a solid color laminate with a clear overlay that is a paper, starts as a paper. These inclusions are added during the paper making process, and then in the press, under heat and pressure, that top layer pretty much disappears. And that's usually a wear layer. It is treated with a melamine resin. It's sort of a milky paper when you handle it, but under heat and pressure, the milkiness basically just disappears, and the inclusions in this case become part of the finished laminate. And you can see some of the real bright and dazzling colors. These harken back to the mid-century modern as well. These materials were actually created by a company called Onyx, O-N-Y-X, Specialty Papers, and they're only about a decade old. Again, back to the Mad Men set. So many of these environments would not have been possible, especially in a commercial setting, without the use of high-pressure laminate. So this is actually a real house. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. It is the Ralph Wilson House in Temple, Texas, built by the founder of Wilson Art Laminates. It was built in 1956, and the goal was to use high-pressure laminate on every possible surface in the house. So that far wall that you see there is actually silk-screened high-pressure laminate, white high-pressure laminate with silk-screen designs on it. The place still looks like it did probably the week it was built. It's a very durable material and obviously has proven itself over decades. People did live in this house for decades. Right now it is basically a museum piece. So this is high pressure laminate in kind of the funky high art world. An Italian designer named Ettore Satsas began working with a high pressure laminate called Abet Laminati. It's an Italian brand known for bold and vivid colors and really bold textures and patterns. This was in the 1980s, but he was kind of harkening back to the mid-century modern era and creating very whimsical and playful furniture. Made a big splash. I don't think it was a huge commercial success, but it was a big design inspiration. And people know the Memphis design movement. Actually, I think they were called the Memphis Group. And it was a group of young designers in Milan, basically having fun with the idea of design. This is another whimsical piece from the Memphis movement. I think it's a floor lamp. This is a piece actually that I got to spend some time with as a photographer. There is one of these in the Limn Gallery in San Francisco. Not the most practical designs, but definitely very fun. So what is HPL? How is it made? The graphic on the right, you can see, basically lays out the different parts of the sandwich. The overlay paper, that top sheet, as we talked about a couple of slides ago, can carry other materials to add another decorative dimension to high-pressure laminate. In most cases, it really is just a part of the product that cures clear. It can carry some additional wear-resistant properties. In laminate flooring, they use this layer embedded with a lot of aluminum oxide to give the final product a lot more durability on the surface. The problem is the more of those types of additives you put in that overlay paper, the milkier it gets when it cures. So they've found a balance between sort of keeping the visuals intact and offering the extra wear resistance that you expect from a high pressure laminate. Layer number 2 is a decorative paper. Now that's usually a solid color or printed. It is also treated with melamine resin. The top 2 layers are treated with a melamine resin. Melamine cures clear. It is a little bit brittle, but visually it is the best way to add durability and to give these papers the properties they need to actually become a laminate under heat and pressure. Labeled number 3 there, that's craft paper. That's essentially shopping bag paper that has been saturated with a phenolic resin. And there are, can be up to 12 and many more layers than that of craft paper. This is what gives you that core of high pressure laminate. The brown line that you see on corners is craft paper. And it's treated with phenolic resin. It's more cost effective than melamine resin. It's actually a little more user-friendly in as far as handling, but it does cure to a brown color under heat and pressure. So that's why you get the brown line. And then you see underneath, basically it's a repeat of the top two layers. These are balancing layers, and again, kind of goes back to what we were talking about on the composite panels. In order to try and keep the laminate sheet flat, you need to balance the top and the bottom with the same types of papers. And again, we're talking about melamine treated papers. And of course, that bottom layer doesn't have to be a printed design. It is just a basic decor layer, decor paper that's been saturated with melamine resin, but it does not carry a design. No other laminate material can carry as many different visuals as high pressure laminate. These layers you see are laid up in sheets in a large multi-opening press, and basically every single opening of the press can carry a different design paper. So with high pressure laminate, it's much easier to order several different designs in one processing batch. So why use HPL? Well, as we mentioned, it's easy to work with in the field. It is very, very durable. It has proven itself over decades, literally decades. And there's no other material that has that combination of ease of use and extreme durability. It can be laid up with basically contact adhesive onto a composite wood core, and it doesn't need any special temperature or processing times. It's basically something you can lay up in your garage. High pressure laminates can be fabricated in the field quite easily. As a matter of fact, we'll see in a future slide here, you can cut high pressure laminate and kind of puzzle it together to create a unique design. What we see in this slide is a waterfall edge. Again, that has been machined into the substrate panel, or it is an additional strip of wood that's been added to the substrate panel with that contour cut into it. High pressure laminate with a little bit of heat, special grades of high pressure laminate can be post formed around edges like that. So post forming grade is a slightly different formulation of the resins that go into a high pressure laminate. But essentially, you have all the same properties that you expect from HPL. You can also cut HPL into strips to create a matching 90-degree edge or a beveled edge. So using exactly the same material on the face as on the edges, of course, gives you perfect design harmony. This is the example of a nurse's desk in a hospital where they have created a unique design by cutting the high pressure laminate. Now this was probably actually done on a CNC router to get that level of precision, so you wouldn't make these kind of cuts in the field. But again, cuts for edge treatments, that can be done in the field. This is another reception desk and the walls all using high pressure laminate. The other unique thing about high pressure laminate is it can be bent around a radius like this. So the core behind that is probably a sheet of plywood that has been kerfed. Little sections have been cut out of it so you can get that radius, and then you can glue the high pressure laminate on it, basically in the field or in the shop. But no other decorative surfaces we're going to be talking about today can achieve a radius like that. This is high pressure laminate used in a university auditorium. They basically treated these acoustic baffles with high pressure laminate to give it a nice wood look and some durability. I photographed this a few years ago. It's pretty obvious that somebody had been trying to clean these panels with furniture polish, which you do not do with high pressure laminate. It is basically a plastic-like surface, and you clean it with the very basic sort of Windex type materials. Furniture polish will kind of gunk up because there's nowhere for it to soak in like it would on solid wood or veneer. This is a high pressure laminate floor in a Steinway piano store. Wilson Art Flooring actually made HPL laminate flooring, and I did photography and writing for their dedicated magazine for that market. You could never achieve this with a solid wood floor or a veneered floor or an engineered wood floor. the weight of the grand pianos and the fact that they all seem to roll around on brass wheels. There are reasons for that. You don't want rubber wheels absorbing any of the acoustic resonance of a grand piano. So in order to get the maximum sound and fidelity out of an acoustic instrument like that, it needs to be very rigidly sitting on the floor. But those wheels would absolutely destroy a solid wood floor. If you've ever been on a stage where there's been grand pianos wheeled around, you can see that they basically dig right in. This is a concept for a hotel room at an exhibition in Germany called Interzoom. Interzoom is actually a big materials fair. This is a big high-pressure laminate company in Europe called HPL, showing off some ideas for how their material, their HPL, might be used in hotel settings, in this case as cool hexagonal wall panels. So where is HPL used? Over so many years, it's really found its home in the higher use applications. So commercial and residential cabinet casework, doors and drawer fronts, offices, hotels, healthcare, of course, worktops, tabletops, kitchen counters, retail displays, transaction counters, shelves and walls, architectural wall panels, elevator cab wall panels, signage and branded surfaces. For years and years, companies were silk screening high-pressure laminate with logos or with some sort of corporate IDs. It was very efficient to do, again, because of the way HPL is produced, one sheet at a time, in large multi-opening presses. These days, digitally printed HPL is easy to find. Laminate flooring, and it's also used often in combination with TFL, lightweight papers, and three-dimensional laminates, which we're going to be talking about shortly, because all of those materials are available in complementary or matching designs. So you specify high-pressure laminate for the highest wear areas, and these other materials for other areas where they are the perfect choice, either because of the performance or because of the cost. And basically, you use HPL in applications where you want a design that you can't get in any other material. Thanks for watching part 3, and stay tuned for part 4, where we're going to cover TFL, thermally fused laminates, and don't forget about our fine sponsors.